From Dr. Kildare to Blackthorn, with Hamlet and Wild Bill Hickok in between, Richard Chamberlain has evolved as one of America's most respected actors. And now, Shogun starts NBC this fall in a 6-part miniseries. And Richard, tell us about this wonderful experience.
Well, Shogun is based on a novel by James Clavell, a novel that was very, very popular here, and is, and will continue to be, I hope. And it takes place in Japan about 1600. I played John Blackthorn, the pilot of a British ship that finds its way through Magellan's Pass, which was secret until that time, to Japan, and gets involved in all kinds of incredible adventures in Japan. The only Caucasians who found their way there before were the Jesuits, Portuguese, and they had the Japanese silk trade all sewn up in a very rich trade. And so it was a big deal for me to find my way through, and the Jesuits were not happy about it. But I get involved with Toranaga, the most powerful lord there in Japan, in a feudal society of many lords, and fall in love with Mariko, this beautiful Japanese girl. And that's all very tragic and wonderful and sad and terrific.
You spent a lot of time, obviously, in Japan. Talk about that experience. It must have been incredible.
Well, I've always been fascinated by Japan, and because after reading the book, I went over there a year before we filmed, not even knowing I had the part, just to look around. I've always loved Japanese art. I bought some beautiful things there and brought them home. But the fascinating thing about Japan is that it's so different from America. And that sounds stupid, but it's amazing to live for 6.5 months in a culture that is so very, very, very different from your own.
What did you find as the biggest differences?
Well, I found that the hiding of emotion there, because emotion is a very, very, very extremely private matter there. You're almost never invited to somebody's house, for instance. You never see the inside of their life. You see their exterior. You see their behavior, which is always impeccable. You never see people get angry. You never see people cry. I don't know where they do all this, but they keep it in public. Their sense of what death is so different from us. I think we're terrified of death in our society and of aging. They honor aging, and they're not afraid of death because it's just a continual cycle for them.
The sets and the costumes must have been extraordinary for this.
Really gorgeous. The art department on our film was one of the few departments that wasn't full of strife on occasion. They all got along beautifully and produced the most gorgeous sets and villages, whole villages and ships and incredible costumes, all very rich and very beautiful. I think it's going to start a whole kind of fashion trend in America.
Well, it indeed could. What indeed does Shogun mean?
Shogun is the title of the chief military lord of Japan. He has, and it's a figure of centralized power in this feudal society. And all the lords were fighting to become this president, in a sense, of Japan during this time that Blackthorn was there.
What did you like best about the show?
I can't say. I think the whole experience was amazingly rich. I liked playing Blackthorn. I liked him.
Yeah,
you know, he's a wonderful guy, and to watch him, to feel his growth as he goes from being a kind of very rough-edged European to becoming a very civilized semi-Japanese person was fascinating.
One final question. What has success given Richard Chamberlain, and what has it taken away?
Success gives you the desire for more success. There's no end to one's appetite for success. And once you've had a success, it's in the past, and you have to go on to a new challenge. The only thing it takes away is one's the freedom of being an anonymous, regular, plain old human being.
Yeah.
You still are, of course, deep down, but people don't treat you that way anymore, and it becomes kind of a drag to be treated as somebody very special when you're really not.
Indeed. The plain old, one of the best actors in the world, Richard Chamberlain. The show is Shogun. It starts this fall on NBC.